Meg. Welcome back to another video with Fordham Fashion Collective. Today I'm going to be making a little video showing you guys how I make scrunchies. So I think that they're super fun to make and they're actually really easy. I use a sewing machine. That was kind of my quarantine project. I just kind of sat down one day and was like, I'm going to learn to use a sewing machine. So that's what I did. I've only been able to really make little bags, skirts, and scrunchies. I'm not too skilled in it, but the scrunchies I'm going to be showing you guys to make today, you can make with the sewing machine, or you could actually do it and sew it by hand. It's super easy. You'll just follow all the same steps that I'm showing you. I think these scrunchies are so cute, and they're such like a fun and easy gift to give someone. Definitely you get like a personalized touch. You can use whatever fabric you have. All the fabric that I'm using today, it's actually, I guess, secondhand fabric. It was all picked up from a textile sale in my hometown, but I definitely have a bunch of old clothes that don't really fit me anymore that I really like the material of, that I think would be really cute if you guys have anything like that, to like cut up an old dress or jeans or whatever, make scrunchies out of that, instead of just like getting rid of the clothes or throwing them out, whatever. You can repurpose them a little bit. So let's get into it. That we're going to do is cut your piece of fabric into a smaller strip by 18 by 5 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark that off and then cut it. So that is cut, and I got the excess fabric out of the way. Obviously it doesn't have to be perfectly straight, because clearly mine isn't. I'm horrible at cutting in a straight line, but it's all going to be hemmed anyway. And then next we're going to cut and measure our elastic. So for this we only need 7 inches of elastic. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that. So the first thing we want to do, actually before we start sewing, you're gonna fold your fabric in half so that the outside part, or whatever design that you have, is faced on the inside. And then once you have it folded, you're gonna go ahead and pin along the seams if you have pins. If not, you can just go right into sewing it. Okay, so now mine is all pinned and we can get into sewing. The best thing about making these scrunchies is that if you don't have a sewing machine, you can totally do the same thing and get the same result with just doing it by hand with the needle and thread. I personally like to use the sewing machine better just because it's faster and my seams are a little straighter, but you could totally do either way and it'll still come out looking great. Okay, so my machine is all set up, so all I'm going to do is make one seam along the edges where I have pinned. Okay, so now that we have our seam, I'm just going to go ahead and cut off this excess fabric, just because it'll make it a lot easier when we are threading the elastic through. So what we also need to do, I forgot to say, is we're going to start and make another seam at the top and only cover it so that you have a little hole for the elastic to come through. Okay, so now that that is done, we're going to take our little loop that we made and turn it inside out. So now the right side will be facing out, and then we're going to go ahead and thread the elastic through. So when it comes to threading the elastic through, I find it easier to go in and pin one edge with a safety pin so that you're not constantly losing it and having to start all over again. So now that is all turned inside out, and then you can see the seam that we just did. Is tuck the two ends together and sew it basically. So what I usually do first is I sew the two ends of the elastic together just to make sure that it definitely stays and doesn't come apart. Okay, so the last thing that we're going to do is tuck one end into the other, and then you're going to make one last seam to make sure that everything is enclosed. It's done, and this is our final product. So, and here are the final results of the 4 scrunchies I made. So we have the yellow one that you guys watched me do. We have like this fun cow print one. I used the leftover material from a skirt that I made. We have kind of like this pinky color and then another like light pink with flowers on it.